All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Skygazer Brewing Company, and they are a nomadic brewery that brews out of the 12% Beer Project location in North Haven, Connecticut, and this is their Watercolors, the Quantum Crystals 1 variant. So they're calling this one a sour ale with sweet cherry, tart cherry, cherry almond granola, cream cheese, and milk sugar, aka lactose. It comes in at 5.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just under 2 months old. So I have reviewed one beer from Skygazer. It was a collaboration with Abomination, both of which brew out of the 12% Beer Project location in North Haven, Connecticut. And it was their Dreamatorium. It was this big pastry stout, but it was kind of had the body of like a pastry sour, like with all the fruit puree and everything. It was a wild concoction. It was quite delicious, but also very sweet. And I've had one other beer from them that I drank off camera. It was a part of their Watercolors replay series, and it was quite good. What I liked about it is it actually had a nice like tartness and acidity. So I'm hoping the same here. I hope that, you know, you can actually get the sour ale base with all the puree and everything they're using. But I picked this one up because it's kind of like cherry pie in liquid form, or like a cherry parfait or something. Like a lot of cherry going on here. I love all kinds of cherries, sweet cherries, tart cherries, dark cherries, the whole nine. So yeah. So it's not pouring out as thick. This was upside down in my fridge in case there are a bunch of goodies and whatnot. But this doesn't look like it has a crazy pureed kind of look to it, but it might. Uh-oh. Am I going to have to save it? I might have to save it. Ooh, don't have to save it. So I'm going to pour the rest in here. See if I can get it all in here. But yeah, I picked this one up just because it sounded pretty good. I'm hoping, again, that the base... We'll pour the rest in as this kind of dissipates. We'll start cheating a little bit here. We'll talk about the body and everything, or the appearance. So yeah, that looks, you know, like something that would have a shit ton of cherries in it. Has this like almost like purplish color, or a deep dark red. There are a lot of particulates. I don't know if you're going to see that on camera, but there are a lot of particulates at the bottom here. Has about a 3 finger of this straight up pink colored head. Looks more like soap sudsy, some big bubbles in there. It does have the pectin kind of fruit puree kind of thing going on, so definitely using puree of some sort, I would imagine, or maybe that's from the cherry almond granola. But regardless, that looks nice. So let's try to pour the rest in here, and then, all right, so that is all of it now in there. Put this back over here. Yeah, let's get a nose. Oh. What is that reminding me of? Kind of like black cherry ice cream or black cherry yogurt. It definitely has a sweet, now I can smell the granola, but it's almost coming off to me as like graham cracker. So almost like pie-esque, or like a black cherry cheesecake or something. Yeah, I would say with that cream cheese and the lactose and the granola, you could say parfait, you'd say cheesecake, something in that realm, like a sweeter cherry pastry. A little bit of tartness, but this honestly smells very dessert-like. Yeah, it smells fucking awesome. I'm just going to be honest. I just love that. I'd say cherry cheesecake for me. That's kind of what this smells like. It's making my mouth water because I want to take a sip, but it has, like, if you've opened up a container or opened up a cheesecake and you just get that whiff as you make the first cut, or maybe as you open it, just has that sweet dessert pastry kind of feel to it. Oh, it smells awesome. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Okay, so props to Skygazer, because this is the second Watercolors beer I've had from them. And I will say one thing that a lot of breweries don't consistently do within this style, this pastry sour, heavily fruited sour. I love Mortalis here locally in the Western New York area. I love Mortalis. I like Frol, Fifth Frame, but sometimes these beers can just be way too sweet. You want maybe 4 ounces of it, because by the time you take 3 or 4 sips, you're like, you know what, that's too rich. There's not enough sourness or some kind of bitterness or acidity or something to break up all that sweetness that's kind of hitting you. And I think that Skygazer does a really good job at kind of balancing that out. Mine, this is like lower side of full. This doesn't, and this is that other beer that I drank off camera, their Watercolors replay. I forget the variant. I think it had blackberries and a couple other things in it. It doesn't have that thick, like kind of bog you down, heavily fruited sour body where it's just like syrup, you know. This is lower side of full body, so it is thicker, especially for something 5.5%, but it's not too thick. It's not like drinking ice cream or something, or yogurt. I should say eating ice cream, but there was a beer here recently that I drank that was kind of like drinking ice cream. Anyway, so yeah, the body, lower side of full body, the mouthfeel, it's soft, it's smooth, but it has a nice like moderate carbonation to it. Again, I think the body and mouthfeel is kind of what I really like about this beer. The taste, I will say this, the nose was fucking phenomenal. The taste, a little bit of letdown, less complexity. It doesn't have as much of a rich kind of the depth of the flavors aren't exactly what I was getting in the nose, but it's not a bad thing. So right at the front of the palate, a beautiful mix of sweet cherries, tart cherries, slightly acidic, kind of like a cherry skin. It's a nice mix of that right at the front, right at the tip of the tongue. As it passes through, it kind of turns into more of like a tart cherry juice. I mean, I drink tart cherry juice, not like super frequently because it is expensive, but so occasionally I will, buy some tart cherry juice. It's good for inflammation and whatnot. And this is kind of tart cherry juice, but not as tart as that when you're drinking it. The second half of the palate is where you get the vanilla, the cream cheese, the pastry as kind of vibe to this one. Get a little bit of that granola on the back. So I would say this drinks more like tart cherry juice, like mixed with like a parfait yogurt with some granola in it and some cherries. The back of the palate is where you're getting that dessert vibe. This finishes semi-dry, no bitterness, but it has a nice, I'd say mild to moderate acidity. I'm not getting heartburn yet. I might by the end of this, and a lot of people that'd be a negative, and it is sometimes when the acidity's through the roof, and after a couple sips you're gonna get heartburn. That's a problem. This I might by the end of the can, but I think as I drink this one right now, it's not too big, and it is, again, stopping the sweetness. This beer is not crazy sweet. Surprisingly, the nose screamed to me like this was gonna be cloying. Not in the least. I will say that the flavor, again, isn't as cohesive. It's not as rich. It's not as boisterous, bold, intense that the nose was indicating. And I'm all right with it, only because the body and the mouthfeel kind of make up for it. So I'm really digging this. It's not amazing, but I think if you're looking for something in that heavily fruited sour realm or pastry sour realm, it actually has a decent balance to it. I think this is what you want to pick up, especially if you love cherries. If you don't like cherries, there's no way you're liking this one. Too much cherry, but you wouldn't pick it up, I'd imagine. So Skygazer's Watercolors, the Quantum Crystals 1 variant. Rating-wise on this one, we'll go straight 4.25 out of 5. I think that's fair for this one. It's really good. But again, if the flavors were as good as in the nose, what I was getting in the nose, if that translated into the taste along with the great body and mouthfeel, I think this is a 4 or 5 all day. But as is, best I can do is a 4.25. Here's the other side, the Quantum Crystals. And on the bottom here, which I love because of their name, they say, never stop looking up, obviously, Skygazer. Makes sense, but really nice. I'd say this is a really, really nice label. Yeah. I like doing it over here, though, because that's, it has all the information. Anyway, price and availability. I think I paid like $6.50 for that can. And if you were to put it into 4-packs, you're talking like $26. And that's kind of the going rate in my area. If you go Mortalis or Froth or Fifth Frame, most of their heavily fruited sours are $25 a 4-pack, somewhere in that realm. So $26 for something that gets distro, not bad. Would I pay that again for this one? Maybe not, just because, I give it a 4.25, which is a really good score. But again, I think if the flavors were a little better, I would pay it. But for $6.50, it's expensive. So, something I probably wouldn't repurchase. I'd try something else from them. And availability, I have no idea with Skygazer other than, again, they brew out of the North Haven, Connecticut location of 12% Beer Project. And I know they get distribution in a bunch of different states, but I don't know what those states are other than here in New York for sure. So if you've had this one before, anything within this series, post in the comment section. Let me know. 5.5%, you can't taste it. A lot of people say, because there's no ABV in there. Maybe you're right. Or maybe it's a 5.5% beer and you just can't taste it. Regardless, again, if you had this one, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.